California studied these flies by looking first, not surprisingly, since they had this paralyzed phenotype, at the neuromuscular junctions. And at the neuromuscular junctions of these flies, you can see at the non-permissive temperature, the typical wall of a synapse, the neuromuscular synapse, chock full of synaptic vesicles and dark here at the muscle. Whereas just 5 minutes after shift to the non-permissive temperature, you can see the synaptic vesicles completely depleted, and instead you see this accumulation of endocytic profiles on the presynaptic membrane. At higher magnification, Kadura-Kata noted that many of these endocytic structures have an electron-dense band at their neck called the collared tip. Some years later, Shabiri was cloned by Mr. Valley and Alice Vanderbilt at the same time and discovered to be the homologue of a mammalian protein that Richard Valley had discovered and called dynamin. Dynamin is atypical GTPase. In addition to the standard rat-related G domain and Z domain that involved in self-assembly, a pH domain that interacts with targets to the dimorphized membrane, and a C-terminal protein arginine qualified for his 3,000
that are SH3 domain molecules.
Dynamin is a tetramer in solution, so if you think of rats as small GTPases and trimeric G-alphas as large GTPases, you can think of this as the Arnold Schwarzenegger of GTPase, or not to mix metaphors, the Incredible Hulk of GTPases. It has a low affinity for GTP in the 10 micromolar range. The consequence of this is, unlike rat-related GTPases and trimeric GTPases, it does not need a guest to activate it. It does not need a guanine exchange factor to yank off bound GTP that is so tightly associated so that it can be loaded with GTP. Rather, in the cell, at steady state, it will always be in the GTP-bound form. It also has a robust basal rate of GTP hydrolysis of about 1 per minute. Dynamin self-assembles onto rings and spirals in low salt solution or in the presence of GTP aluminum chloride. This is a discovery that Jenny Hinshaw made when she was in my lab at Scripps. And onto liposomes, either acidic or PIP2 containing liposomes to form these long dynamin spirals, very reminiscent of the Shabiri collars seen in the Drosophila mutants. This self-assembly stimulates dynamin GTPase activity about 100-fold, and mutation in the GED, the GTPase effector domain, impairs self-assembly and decrease influence dynamin GTPase activity. So based on Jenny's discovery that dynamin self-assembles into these collar structures on its own, and previous work in my lab using the in vitro assay that Jennifer had referred to, where we had shown that you accumulate, that you accumulate constricted coated pits in the presence of non-hydrolyzable analogs of GTP. Jenny and I proposed that dynamin functioned as a mechanochemical enzyme that upon addition in the presence of GTP, dynamin would self-assemble into this collar-like structure at the neck of a deeply invaginated coated pit. And if dynamin underwent a coordinated GTP hydrolysis, these assembled subunits would undergo concerted conformational change that together could generate the force necessary for fission. However, to test this model, we made mutations that were specifically defective in the self-assembly reaction and assembly-stimulating GTPase activities. This work by Sonia Sever in my lab. And unfortunately, when we put these mutants in vivo to look at their phenotype, we got exactly the opposite phenotype that our model would have predicted. That is, overexpression of these mutants that selectively impair self-assembly and therefore assembly-stimulated GTPase activity actually accelerated the rate of transfer and plasmid-mediated endocytosis in these cells. So that led Sonia Sever and I to propose another model for Dynamin, in which we proposed that Dynamin was actually like every other GTPase in the world, not a mechanochemical enzyme, but indeed a regulatory enzyme. In this model, we suggested that Dynamin must, in GTP-bound form, interact with effector molecules that control the rate-limiting step of vesicle formation, so that if we make mutations that are impaired in self-assembly and therefore in the GAP activity, we would prolong the interaction of Dynamin with these effector molecules, accelerate the rate-limiting steps of vesicle formation, and that self-assembly and GTP hydrolysis, which activated the GAP, in a sense, would, like other GTPases, serve to negatively regulate activity and turn off the molecules for recycling. So these are apparently conflicting models, embarrassingly both suggested by me, but thankfully both published in Nature. So gave us lots of chance for review.
In the top of the seventh, he got in.
But what I'd like to suggest is that, like this optical illusion of an older and a younger woman, that these two models for Dynamin are not mutually exclusive. So we think now that Dynamin plays a dual role in coded vesicle formation, that it functions early as a regulatory GTPase, and this function is in its unstable state, where it's targeted at early stages to class-encoded hits. And in this regulatory mode, it functions to regulate and monitor coded pit maturation and to control these slow stages of vesicle formation, requiring basal GTP binding and hydrolysis activity. It subsequently, after self-assembly, switches to its second mode of operation as a component of the fission apparatus. These late stages of Dynamin function, the fission reaction is very rapid compared to the maturation process, requires self-assembly and Dynamin assembly-stimulated GTPase activity. So that's the take-home. Those of you who want to leave, I'll try to now provide evidence for that. So the evidence for Dynamin's role as an early regulatory enzyme in GTP hydrolysis is actually quite extensive. First of all of the GTPase and assembly defective mutants that we and others have generated in Dynamin over the past 10 or 15 years block early stages of vesicle formation, not late stages. Chemical inhibitor of Dynamin, which is a non-competitive GTPase inhibitor identified by Tommy Kirkhausen, also blocks early stages of vesicle formation. As I told you, mutations in GED that impair assembly-stimulated GTPase activity accelerate these early stages of vesicle formation. Second class of mutations in GED that were identified by Drosophila genetics as suppressors of the Shabiri phenotype, so-called SUSH-immune suppressors of Shabiri. These mutations in GED rescue second site mutations in the GTPase domain, which shows that the GED activity negatively regulates dynamic function. So we'll come back to these a little bit later on in the talk. And finally, recent studies in